All right. Q&A. Thanks, everybody. Does anybody have questions?
I don't have a question. I was just going to say that was a very concise and helpful recap. I came in a little bit late, so I apologize for that. But yeah, it was very articulate and I appreciated the amount of information processed into like a minute piece. And a lot of it resonated right now. The piece around like informed. Yesterday, I found myself going through the social media hole and I meditated. I was like angry at myself. I meditated right after. Still had a little bit of anger, but anger and sadness. And then, but yeah, so that piece around like, let's just yell at each other about how informed we are. I was like, oh, that hits right now.
But I want to respond to that and say that anger is actually really great. If you don't turn it into self-punishment, right? That's a different thing. But that anger is your soul being like, hey, you're out of alignment. Excuse me. Right? And so it's not actually a bad thing unless you start self-flagellating. Then it becomes bad.
I love that reframe.
But the anger in and of itself is actually a good sign.
Yeah.
You know, a strong emotion is usually telling us something. So it's actually good. Anybody else? Questions?
I've got something. I'm going to back sit up and say that I'm really grateful for what you share and how you share it. So thanks for showing up for us. Lately in my practice with connecting with my soul, I have been experiencing, right, what we call remembering, right? Like thinking that I'm experiencing or realizing something new. And I'm like, oh, wait, no, it was within me the entire time, right? So it's just this unlocking, right? And so recently it's been really cool to kind of navigate life with just a little less fear, right? And really getting rid of that self-doubt because that trust in myself is really coming through. And then the doubt comes in when I'm like, okay, well, fear has kept me safe. So at what point am I, being reckless? And I know that comes down to discernment. And I haven't felt that recklessness. And maybe I'm just predicting that might be the case because of some actions that I've made in the past. So I just kind of wanted your take on how to navigate that.
Oh, that resonates so much. I mean, I feel that too sometimes of like, am I gonna just totally, is this reckless? Is this much self-trust reckless? Right? So I don't want to bypass physical needs, right? So we do need, most of us, at least at this state, need resource to take care of ourselves. So there may be, practically speaking, times we have to do things we don't necessarily feel are 100% aligned with the truth of our soul. Right? So that being said, I just want to be honest about the reality of the matrix, right? But I don't really, beyond that, I don't believe self-trust is reckless at all. And in fact, it feels terrifying. Like you're describing kind of that, you get a moment of it and then you whiplash into, oh, is this crazy? Right? That is the conditioning that we've all been conditioned into, to believing that we are small and we need external authority and all of these things. And so just go for it. Full self-trust. But you do have to, if you're going to do that, then you do have to be disciplined with the regulatory practices. Because if you fling yourself up, everybody online is talking about timeline jumping. We're going to timeline jump. How's your nervous system going to handle that? You're going to fry out. Just chill and walk yourself nice and easy into the new timeline. You don't have to catapult and jump like Unless you love that. Some people love the drama of that, and that's fine. Then by all means, jump. If you love it, do it. But what I'm here to say is you don't have to jump. You can also walk into the new timeline. That is an option. And I would, in fact, advise against jumping if you are not fully tethered, as then you may find yourself jumping out of said airplane without a parachute, which I have had friends who've done that. And they're okay, you know, they didn't crash and die, but it might not be the most preferred option.
Thank you for sharing that. I loved the overall overview of it. And so, one of the things I'm thinking about as you were talking about old world versus new world, right? And if we're carrying ourselves walking to the new world, I'm just curious of your thoughts around, because I think a lot of times when I hear new world in different spaces, there's this like imagery, and even when you're talking about systems collapsing, right? There's this imagery of apocalyptic kind of imagery. Since we're already practicing, are we already in the new world for us, or are we kind of like in this liminal space between going into the new world and out of the new world kind of thing? And so I'm just curious of your thoughts around that.
Yes, yes. Okay. Couple things. Everyone is in their own place, right? So where are we is unique to everyone. This is a good question because it allows me to say something I think I did not make clear, which is that even when you go into an old world system, what you want to do is have yourself so trained in the new earth frequency that they can't get you, right? Because you're running that frequency of unconditional love, the truth of the other side, the power and authority of your soul with such fortitude that even when you're in that old world system, I got it. I'm fine. It's okay. This is just temporary. Just temporary. Right? So for now, yes, not necessarily really good. Not necessarily. It will become a physical place eventually. But right now, it is a feeling and a frequency and a belief and a vision we hold for ourselves, no matter what is happening in external reality. And so that brings me to the piece about the apocalyptic imagery. Yeah. So that, I'm not going to go down that too much because I said I would only say the truth that could be received at this time. So instead, I will answer that with a question, which is I encourage you to think through where the images are coming from and who owns the media and where the money of media production is coming from to create all of these images of apocalypse. And I'll leave it there for today.
I have a follow-up question to that. When you say you're existing in the new world, how do you know?
It's a feeling in. So I know some of you here have felt this, right? There is a feeling of love and truth, and it is a frequency almost like light and energy, but it's not soft, it's strong, that is moving through, and it feels clear, and I don't feel confused, and I don't get upset about other people's reactions to things. And I know who I am, and I know what I am doing, and I am not thrown off kilter. Or if I am, it is brief and I am come back quickly. And so I know because of how I feel. It's not even necessarily that the external world changes much. Although I will be honest, it is much more difficult for me when I have to engage in certain systems. It's harder to hold it. It's still doable, but it takes more vigilance. And then maybe one other thing there that wasn't exactly the question, but feels worth saying, is that the goal is not, at this time, I don't believe the goal is to attempt to go from where we were, where, and I don't mean we like shaming ourselves, but this is just what happened. There became so much confusion and frequency distortion and messing around on this planet that we're really quite scrambled, most of us. And so the goal shouldn't be like, I'm going to go from scrambled to holding that frequency of the authority of my soul and the power of unconditional love all the time. But rather, can I get it running through me a little bit? And then, now I know what that feels like. And then you might have long periods of forgetting, weeks. And that's okay. And then you remember. And then maybe the next time you forget, you only forget for 3 days. And then you remember. And then the next time, and on and on and on until hopefully the periods of forgetfulness become hours instead of weeks. You know? But the goal is not necessarily to go straight from scrambled confusion, distortion to unconditional love all the time, right? That's bypassing. Okay. That's what that is. But really, to really train to learn to hold it authentically takes time and effort.
I just want to share that for me lately, when I catch a glimpse of it, I know what it feels like now, even if it's like for a short period of time, but I feel safe. A safety of like someone is holding my hand through something, right? But the hold handing is coming from my soul. It's like from me. It's like feel like this embrace of safety that allows me to propel forward. And I recognize that because it's a huge shift from how I normally navigate the world, which is like with a lot of caution and fear of being harmed in some way. And in my unlearning of these things, like the hand holding, the safety, I guess almost kind of like a child who had, that a child being taken care of their parent, like that trust where you can just like fall and cry into their shoulders and you're safe. Like that's lately how it's been showing up for me.
So goodness. Yes. That is, I couldn't have said it better. It's, yeah. Andre, go ahead. Whew.
The thing I wanted to add on to that too is like I pay attention to like all of my senses. Sometimes I'll get like an energetic zap in the crown area. Like I'll get like this intense, I feel like my hair is standing up. Other times it could be like I'm feeling so joyful, and then all of a sudden I see a rainbow or cardinals or different things that I normally don't see. So I pay attention to energetically what my senses are telling me outside of just looking for that feeling, because sometimes they associate in different ways. And I think it goes back to Annie, your point, like all of us are going to feel something different. And so I'm only naming mine to also just pinpoint like Ness and I have two different ways of experiencing what that new world thing feels like.
Yes. And yes, Andre, and this is why the training is so much, and I know I've been giving information, but this is why the training is more valuable than more information. Because I know you two have both been doing the practices. I know that for a fact, right? And when you do them, then you begin to perceive it in your own way. And I can't tell you what that is. You got to do it, and then you know. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for hyping the SoundCloud. Link in the show notes or whatever the kids say. We're glad you're here. Yeah. And community is important, right? Because sometimes you get that old world ick on you and it's thick and it's sticky and it stinks. And you need a place to go. Take a shower, so to speak. Oh, that's such a good segue. You can't write it this good. You can't. Gia, a dip in the pool. All right, let's go swimming, y'all. So good. Okay. Whew. I gotta do some wiggles to get that out. That was a good laugh.